Hi, this is Mr. Ezid, and I've created this video in order to discuss certain issues regarding the subjects of copyright and fair use. Particularly, I hope to dispel any rumors regarding issues of use of copyright materials in the classroom for other educators. Let us begin this discussion by first identifying clearly what copyright is. According to Rene Hobbs, copyright is the owner's legal right to reproduce, display, transmit, or modify work they have created. It's a type of author right. This brings me to myth number one, this notion that copyright law is only there to protect the rights of the content creators. However, this could not be further from the truth, as copyright law does also protect the rights of those who are consuming the content. After all, things such as movies, books, and video games are just one type of receptacle for information and ideas. And as consumers of these products, we can take certain liberties to disseminate the ideas and information found in all this media as well. For instance, this is my copy of Season 3 of The Walking Dead. Now, even though I might not be able to show you an entire episode online, I can let a friend borrow it, I can have a friend over so that we can watch it together, or I could give it away if I would like. I can also talk about the season and share my thoughts on it with you. For instance, Rick's plunge into madness in Season 3 is a prime example of what happens to man when he is removed from civilization. As I am providing you with a commentary of Season 3, I can feel free to discuss the events of Season 3 without any fear of any type of copyright violation. This is just one of the rights protected under the Fair Use Doctrine, which, as Hobbes states, allows for personal use of copyrighted material. For instance, you can create a mixed CD, or even a video compilation of all your favorite scenes from a movie. As a matter of fact, fair use can be claimed any time just so long as you're giving transformational properties to the original source material. For instance, it would be okay for me to publish my watercolor painting inspired by the Season 3 cover of True Blood to a website, as it has been given transformative properties. Even the original image as seen above has been given transformative properties, as I am using it for a point of reference for my painting. The fact of the matter is that all great ideas come from previously existing ideas, and all new artists draw upon previous artists for inspiration in their work. This Marilyn Manson video, for instance, draws heavily upon the short story The Lottery. Art of Fighting, as seen on the left, is very obviously a derivative of Street Fighter, as seen on the right. Even these two characters' moves are strikingly similar. But as you can clearly see, Art of Fighting does give Chun-Li's character some transformative properties. PewDiePie's notorious video game commentaries also meet the transformative standard, as his intended use of the source material differs from that of the source material itself. In fact, he legally makes profit from his videos, as they do not take away from the sales of the game. Satire is another means by which a product can be given transformative properties. The classic comedy Spaceballs, for instance, parodied elements of Star Trek and Star Wars, creating a wholly new product. And they didn't necessarily need to ask permission, much like Weird Al Yankovic doesn't need permission from the artists he spoofs. He only asks out of courtesy. In fact, when he released Amish Paradise, thinking he had Coolio's permission when he didn't, no legal action could be taken, as he was covered under the doctrine of fair use. It's just as Hobbes says, the doctrine of fair use states that people have a right to use copyrighted materials freely without payment or permission for the purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Shows like The Daily Show, Colbert, and South Park often do this for the aforementioned purposes. And the internet and social media is making it easier than ever for ordinary people to use copyrighted material in their own original works. It is also because of the internet and social media that many educators are reticent to use copyrighted works as part of assignments. They have many misconceptions about copyright and fair use, especially when faced with the possibility of work being published on a website. In these classroom copyright charts one may come across only acts to perpetuate these misconceptions. It's like Hobbes says, commercial publishers and media companies like these guidelines because they help reduce fair use to minimal uses that are defined, controlled, and determined by copyright owners, so they are not representing the best interests of educators. Rather, they represent the interests of the music and media industries, much like MyBites and the Copyright Alliance. It is neither prudent nor productive to follow such rigid guidelines. Instead, one should follow the Code of Best Practices in Fair Use for Media Literacy Education, which states that learners can use copyrighted works in creating new materials and distribute their works digitally if they meet the transformativeness standard. Like Hobbes says, when it comes to determining what is and is not fair use, educators and students need to make that determination for themselves. That's what the copyright law both permits and requires.